This is we're thinking about things we can do to improve our life, improve our home. Let's think about how we can be safe in the event of a fire. And what's nice about this is maybe you're never going to have to use it, but FireAde is going to be there if you do have that household fire. It is fantastic. This has been used by fire stations, 7,000 different fire stations around the country, but now it's available for you. This is our brand new 30-ounce can. The thing that I think is most remarkable about FireAde is that it's water-based and you know how to use it already because all it is a push and spray button just like that. So you don't have to have any learning curve on this. There's no directions on there. You're gonna push that button and you're gonna be able to not only put out fires, but you're gonna be able to instantly cool that surface. So let's do this right away. Here you can see it's great for if you're grilling at home, if you're doing tailgating and you wanna cool off that barbecue before you put it into the car. It's great for that. It's great for when you're doing, you know, your fire pit outside or you have a bonfire on the beach. To be safe, having something like FireAde around is absolutely the way to go. It is perfect. So first thing, non-toxic, it's water-based, and I think that's kind of interesting when you think, well, how, I'm using something water-based, is it still gonna do a great job on my fire? If it's, you know, sometimes water is not always the best solution for fires, but this is fantastic. So Tamara, should I wait for you to put out this fire? It doesn't take long.
I'm coming on over.
Tamara's walking through the fires to get over here.
It feels good out here. It's a little chilly.
You know what I'll do?
Okay.
I wanted to wait for you because I wanted you to try it. I know you've tried it once or twice before, but it is so simple. So here's what we're gonna do. Our 30-ounce can, you can start from a good distance away. Do you want to do the very first one?
Yeah, I'll do the one closest.
You can put that fire out from a really nice distance because this is a pressurized, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
And you push that button, so it's just towards, yep, there you go.
There we go.
And then you can find your aim right there. So now you've done that. Now if you move if you move a little closer, now you're closer because the flames are down. Now what you're doing is completely cooling that surface, which I think is great. So you can go again if you want. If you want to do the second one. Again, from a distance you can do that. And now you're able to move closer and completely put that out. That's why it's really nice if there is going to be a fire in the house, but those other areas where we're doing some really fun recreation stuff, but to be safe, you have this around. I wanted to show you again, but from a distance, I can handle that fire. It really is that easy and from that far away. And even if we're doing this outside and it's just in a bucket, but if you had to use this inside, you can clean this up with basically, you know, water and a towel. There's not gonna be a huge mess. It's going to work for 97% of all those different fires that we have in the house. And here's a question that we always get. What about grease fires? Can this work on grease fires? Because you're thinking it's water-based. We know we can't mix water and grease. Here's what's gonna happen, and I saw Ron, the inventor, do this exact demonstration, that when you hit a grease fire with this, so it's gonna be a frying pan with grease that's burning.
Yes.
It's going to flare up immediately.
Okay.
But right after that, FireAde is gonna be able to cool down that surface and it's going to extinguish that fire. So it's pretty amazing that it can do that as well. But this is what you need all around the house. And this is the time of year to think about it. We're thinking about the new year and we're trying to make a couple of changes.
Right.
Having something like this around the house makes a lot of sense.
Well, it's being prepared. And because it happens and it's not a situation of, well, it'll never happen to me, because it does happen in the simplest of ways. I always talk about, I remember when I was younger, our neighbors next door had a grease fire, and we were, you know, in the kitchen, we were looking out the window and we saw it happen. It just happened. So this is a way for you to be prepared, but it's not an intimidating thing because it's a can, you press the button. Unlike a traditional fire extinguisher, that even if you have one, does it still work? Can you test it without it going all over the place? Would you even know how to use it if the situation, you know, called for it and your adrenaline is pumping, your heart's beating, you're nervous? You press the button. It's that simple. And I love that you've got a nice big can. If you want or need more than one, go ahead and do it, because I think every household should have them, and maybe even every floor.
Right, when you're thinking about, you know, do I need more than one can? It's just really, where would you keep one? Certainly in the kitchen, when you think about that. I certainly think of that, the laundry room, if there's a washer dryer, you can keep one in there. One in the garage makes a lot of sense. If you're able to keep another one in the car, all of that makes sense. This is the 30-ounce can, so it's our newest. And I wanted to show you, this is the first time that we actually have a gauge on there that lets you know, and it's hard to see, but there's a little gauge in there that goes from the green and it moves over to the red, letting you know that it's starting to run out of FireAde in there.
Okay.
But it's so simple to use. It does the job, which I think is so important. And those other recreational times that I'm talking about, it makes so much sense to have this around. The bonfires, if it's the fire pit, tailgating, maybe it's, you know, it's the kids going away to college and it's their first time in a dorm room and maybe they're cooking. I mean, there's so many fires that happen, you know, especially in the wintertime. There tends to be sort of a rise in these amount of household fires. So one of them is a lot of cooking, certainly indoors, obviously, and a lot of cooking fires can happen. But what about, you know, space heaters and different things that we're doing? We're trying to heat the house and maybe, you know, a shirt gets put on a heater somewhere and that can start a fire. So having something like FireAde makes so much sense.
It truly does.
Some more fires?
We're going to do some more. If you're just joining us, just know that you do have, it's got a shelf life of 5 years.
Yes, 5 years. You don't have to test it or do anything like you were talking about a regular fire extinguisher, but it'll stay ready to go for 5 years at home. And remember, this is something that military and fire stations have been using for years, but it really is finally available for everyone at home to use. It is totally different that it is this non-toxic water-based formula. So again, if you get it on you, it's no problem. If you get it anywhere around the house, again, you can just wipe it up.
Okay, so I'm gonna, and I can stand because it does have a nice long reach to it.
Exactly. When you use it from a distance, and I'll do some here as well, it allows you to extinguish those flames.
Yeah.
But now when we come in here and we're able to cool that entire surface, that's why we say that this is not just putting out the fire, it's cooling that surface very quickly. So again, if it's not a household fire, but it's something like a tailgate, or if it's something like you putting out your fire pit in the backyard, you ever know, like I was always nervous to even just go in the house and go to sleep. You're like, well, that fire's still burning.
Right.
This is the way to make sure that it's out, which is really nice. I've got one other demonstration I want to show you over here. Again, when we talk about that this is doing such a great job, though it's water-based, it's not the same as using water, that's for sure. So it really can do a great job.
For sure. We're going to show you this demonstration, but you're seeing in a household setting. Remember, this is indoors or outdoors, non-toxic, meets all NFPA 10 standards for portable fire extinguishers. This, if you uses on all Class A and B fires, which is 97% of all fires, including grease fires.
Right, it can work on that grease fire. So here's something really interesting. I want to show you this.
Okay.
So I've got this road flare here that's going. We're going to see that in a minute.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put that road flare. It's making that water pretty hot.
Yeah.
So I'm putting in that water to make sure it was in that water. And the water doesn't put it out. You know what? I want you to do that. So I'll hold it right here and just aim some of that in there and really get that in there. Sometimes it takes a lot. I mean, remember, this is a flare. Good job. So again, that's on my hand. I'm going to put a little more in there. I just always like to make sure.
Yeah.
Right? So, oh, that was a nice little splash on me. But again, there's nothing to worry about. So the flare is out. Remember, I had that underwater, in the water, and it didn't put it out. I mean, that's what a flare is supposed to do. It's supposed to stay lit and ready to go in the rain and everything else, but the FireAde can put it out. So water-based, but really a specific formula that isn't just like water, as you notice with that flare. So that one is pretty intense. I remember Ron, showing me that for the first time, and that's when I was like super impressed that this is what this can do. And it helps you understand that this will cool that surface, which is so important. So our largest can that we've ever had, think about those places. We can all think about the stories we've heard. Oh, so-and-so had a fire and there was a fire at someone else's house, whether they had that fire extinguisher available or not. And maybe if you're traveling, it is wintertime, but when we get back to the summer and we're going on road trips in an RV or just in the car, have something like this with you. Camping, it's perfect.
It's
you can be safe.
Yeah. It really is. It's peace of mind, and the fact that, and I keep saying that it's not intimidating to use, because if you had a traditional fire extinguisher where you have to lift it up, and I actually don't even know, I've seen them many times. You have to break the little seal, you have to pull the pin. Yeah, I wouldn't even know how to use it if I would be nervous or scared, and I wouldn't have the clue. This, you know how to do this.
You probably have 6 or 7 different cans, from hairspray to bug spray to everything else at home, just like this. But this one will put out those fires.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Go ahead, we've got it for you for $27.95. If you want more or need more than one can, you can go ahead and pick yours up. We're gonna check in with Suzanne Runyon. She's coming up at midnight. She's gonna tell us what she's got coming up. Hey, Suzanne.